Welcome, and thank you, Susan, for coming and talking to us about sneaky clauses in leases.
Or heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. So typically, if you're a landlord and you have a tenant using your property, you want the tenant to be responsible absolutely for the maintenance of that equipment, but you also want them to be responsible for any repairs or any complete replacements of that equipment. And that can be really tricky for the tenant, especially if they're signing a new lease and they have a brand new if they have a brand new unit on the roof, then that's fine generally. But if it's an older unit, then that can be very sneaky. A typical air conditioning unit costs between $8,000 and $10,000. So that can be an unexpected hit. We typically try to minimize that. We have a couple ways to do it. My favorite way is to agree that the tenant, now this is when we represent the tenant, that the tenant pays for all the maintenance on the air conditioning equipment, which makes a lot of sense. However, if there's expensive repair or replacement, then we cap the tenant's expense or exposure to that cost in any given lease year. So we usually like to say $500 in any given lease year for an expensive repair or replacement. And the landlord usually comes back with $2,000, and then we wind up somewhere in the middle. But that is something that is super common.
And when you represent the landlord?
Well, then of course we put that in there. So we want from the landlord's perspective, the tenants using the building, they're using the equipment. If the tenant isn't bright enough to have the air conditioning inspected and understand what its remaining useful life is, then oh well. Sometimes what the landlord will agree to is if they have to replace the HVAC, then they pay for it, but then they bill back the tenant 144th of the value of that, or the cost of that, each month. So for however long now the tenant's rent has increased significantly.